Soon, your petrol and diesel could become costlier. That's because world's top oil producers could consider further supply cuts when they meet later this month.
As we have done in April, whereby the countries that had agreed to do the voluntary cuts have extended that voluntary cuts to end of 24.
The Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, along with its allies known as OPEC+, including Russia, has played a crucial role in determining the global oil supply for decades. Saudi Arabia, the de facto leader of OPEC, has maintained a complex but strategically vital relationship with the United States. This partnership has been rooted in mutual economic interests, where the U.S. provided security and military support to Saudi Arabia in exchange for stable oil supplies. However, recent geopolitical tensions and policy divergences have strained this alliance. In a bold and unprecedented move, Saudi Arabia's decision to exclude the U.S. from OPEC plus oil supplies can be seen as a response to several factors. One of the most significant drivers is the U.S. foreign policy stance in the Middle East, which has increasingly clashed with Saudi interests. The U.S. has been critical of Saudi Arabia's human rights record, its involvement in the Yemeni conflict, and its handling of dissent within the kingdom. Additionally, the U.S. has ramped up its production of shale oil, challenging the market share of traditional oil producers like Saudi Arabia. The immediate economic impact of this ban on the United States is severe. The U.S. economy is heavily reliant on oil, not only as a source of energy, but also as a critical component in various industries, from transportation to manufacturing. By cutting off access to OPEC plus oil, Saudi Arabia is effectively squeezing the supply chain, leading to higher fuel prices. This price surge is already being felt at gas pumps across America, with consumers facing unprecedented costs for gasoline. Moreover, the ripple effects extend beyond just fuel prices. Higher transportation costs increase the price of goods, exacerbating inflationary pressures. Businesses that rely heavily on logistics and transportation are particularly hard hit, facing increased operational costs that may force them to raise prices, cut jobs, or even shut down. The aviation industry, still recovering from the COVID-19 pandemic, is experiencing a dramatic rise in fuel costs, leading to higher ticket prices and reduced air travel demand. The U.S. energy sector, particularly the shale oil industry, is also affected by this ban. While higher oil prices might seem beneficial for domestic producers, the reality is more complex. The shale industry operates on a high-cost model, requiring significant investment and technology to extract oil. The volatility introduced by Saudi Arabia's decision creates uncertainty, making it difficult for companies to plan and invest in long-term projects. Additionally, the shale industry's capacity to fill the gap left by OPEC plus oil is limited, given the current infrastructure and environmental regulations. Saudi Arabia's strategic move also highlights the growing geopolitical rift between the two nations. The kingdom's pivot away from the U.S. towards other global powers such as China and Russia is indicative of a broader realignment. China, as the world's largest oil importer, has increasingly positioned itself as a key partner for Saudi Arabia. This relationship is mutually beneficial. China secures a stable oil supply for its burgeoning economy, while Saudi Arabia diversifies its customer base, reducing its dependence on Western markets. Furthermore, Russia's role in this geopolitical chess game cannot be overlooked. As a significant player in OPEC+, Russia stands to gain from the exclusion of the U.S. by solidifying its influence within the organization. The partnership between Saudi Arabia and Russia in managing oil production quotas has already shown its capacity to sway global oil prices. By aligning more closely with Russia, Saudi Arabia not only strengthens its hand in OPEC+, but also sends a clear message to the U.S. about the shifting balance of power. The long-term implications for the U.S. economy are profound. the immediate price shocks are likely to lead to a period of economic instability characterized by inflation and slower growth. The Federal Reserve may be forced to raise interest rates more aggressively to combat inflation, which could stifle investment and increase borrowing costs for businesses and consumers. Additionally, the increased cost of energy will strain household budgets, reducing disposable income and consumer spending, which are critical drivers of the U.S. economy. Politically, the U.S. government faces a challenging landscape. The Biden administration, already navigating a complex web of domestic and international issues, now has to contend with a major energy crisis. There will be significant pressure to find alternative energy sources and ramp up domestic production. However, this is easier said than done, given the environmental considerations and the time required to scale up production. The U.S. might also seek to strengthen alliances with other oil-producing nations to mitigate the impact of the Saudi ban. However, rebuilding trust and forging new alliances takes time, and there are no guarantees these efforts will be successful. Countries like Venezuela and Iran, which have substantial oil reserves, could become potential partners. But these nations come with their own set of geopolitical complications and risks. Another potential avenue for the U.S. is to accelerate its transition to renewable energy sources. While this is a long-term solution, the current crisis could act as a catalyst for more aggressive policies and investments in clean energy. The U.S. has already made strides in this direction, but the scale of investment and the pace of technological advancement needed to offset the loss of OPEC plus oil are monumental. This transition will require not only government support, but also private sector innovation and public acceptance. Now, if you like this video, check out this next video right here.